Hello friends, welcome to latest and basic banking knowledge bites. In today's video, we will see in detail about banking operations and its classification, banking and RBI evolution, policies adopted by Reserve Bank of India to control inflation. Now let's move on to the topic. Banks. Let's see how banks operation takes place in general. Here, people deposit money into the bank accounts. Subsequently, banks are supposed to keep some reserves with Reserve Bank of India in the form of CRR and SLR, which we will see in detail later on. After maintaining these reserves, a certain portion has to be made by the banks on investments, and at the same time, banks should give a percentage for allocating loans to the customers. Out of these loans, a certain percentage has to be given to priority sector for lending. Priority sector means it is focused mainly on the weaker sections of a society. Banks provide small loans to agriculture, MSMEs for social infrastructure like building schools, colleges and hospitals in rural areas. Also, banks provide loans for renewable energy, say for example, building solar panels. Now let's see what is cost of funds. Cost of funds is nothing but banks getting interest on loans is called cost of funds. And yield is something the interest gained on the loan amount is nothing but yield. The difference between this cost of funds and this yield should be minimum 3%, which is called net interest margin. This net interest margin is basically utilized for paying salaries, rent and electricity bill, and at the same time banks should get profit also. So for example, if a bank's total deposit amount is 100 crores, total interest amount received from the loans is 9 crores. And the total interest which the bank has to pay on the total deposit amount to the customer is 6 crores, then the net interest margin is 3 crores. So with this 3 crores of net interest margin, banks will pay rent, salaries and other expenses and should also get profit. In the next slide, we will see the different types of banks. Different types of banks. Banks are generally classified into two types. One is scheduled banks and non-scheduled banks. Scheduled banks are further classified into commercial banks and cooperative banks. Under commercial banks, we have regional rural banks, public and private sector banks, foreign banks and small finance banks. And the second division of this scheduled bank is cooperative banks, which we will see later. So first is the scheduled bank. So what do you mean by scheduled bank? Any bank which is eligible to take a loan from the Reserve Bank of India falls under the category of scheduled bank. These banks are included in the second schedule of RBI Act 1934, which has two conditions. One is the reserve capital. We all know that reserve capital means amount of money a company has reserved from its shareholders in exchange of its shares in the primary market for a particular purpose. That is called reserve capital. So this reserve capital and the collected funds of the banks should be greater than 5 lakhs. This is the first condition. The second condition is at any cost, the banking activities should not affect the interest of depositors. So, a bank to be classified under scheduled banks, it should favor two conditions. Then only it will be classified under scheduled banks. And this scheduled banks is further classified into commercial banks and cooperative banks. Now we will see what is commercial bank. Any financial institution that accepts deposits, offers checking account services, provides loans, savings account to individuals and small business, and offer other basic financial products like certificate of deposit. We all know certificate of deposit means that is a type of saving account that offers high interest rates in exchange for keeping our money in account for a specific time of period. That is called certificate of deposit. So it offers certificate of deposits. The commercial banks actually makes money by providing loans and earns interest through loans like mortgage, home loan, personal loan, auto loan. And the customer deposits provides these banks with the capital to provide loans. And then we have regional rural banks. First is regional rural bank. So what is called regional rural bank? The main objective of this regional rural bank is to provide financial assistance to farmers, medium and small scale enterprises, local craftsmen, artisans for agriculture and industries, trade and commerce, and their economic development. This regional rural banks are government owned scheduled commercial banks created to serve rural areas with basic banking and financial services. As of this current financial year in India, we have totally 43 regional rural banks. And next we have public and private sector banks. So what do you mean by public sector banks? Public sector banks are those banks whose shareholding is more than 51% lies with the central or the state government. Then it is categorized under public sector banks. Example, SBI, Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda, and so on. As per this current financial year, we totally have 12 public sector banks, and the oldest, that is the first public sector bank established in India, is Allahabad Bank. And then we have private sector banks. So what do you mean by private sector bank? Any bank in which the majority of the stake is held by the shareholders of the banks and not by the government. That is called private sector bank. Say for example, the private sector banks, we have ICICI, HDFC, Axis, Bandhan, and so on. And as per the current financial year, we have totally 21 private sector banks. And the oldest private sector bank is Nedungudi Bank, that is NBL Bank. But now Punjab National Bank took over all its current branches, and now it is working under the control of Punjab National Bank. And then we have foreign banks. So this foreign bank is an international bank which has its headquarters in a different country with its branches operating in India. So these foreign banks must follow the rules and regulations of both the home as well as the host countries. So these foreign banks open its branches in other countries basically to meet the need of the customers of international companies. As of this current financial year, we totally have 46 foreign banks operating in our country, and some of the example of this foreign bank are HSBC Limited, and then Citibank, BNP Paribas, Barclays, DBS Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of America, and so on. Next we have small finance banks. Small finance bank is a specific segment of banking created by RBI with the motto of providing basic banking activities to unserved and underserved sections, including small business units, small and marginal farmers, micro and small industries, and unorganized sector entities. Minimum of 100 crores of paid up capital is required for setting up a small finance bank. And the oldest small finance bank is Capital Small Finance Bank Limited. Next we have cooperative banks. What is called cooperative bank? Cooperative banks are those banks which provides financial assistance to economically weaker sections of our society is categorized as cooperative banks. For a bank to be considered as a cooperative bank, it should have a minimum of 50 lakhs of paid up capital is a must for setting up a cooperative bank in backward areas, and 3 crores of paid up capital in urban areas, that is the areas which already have banking infrastructure. And the last is we have non-scheduled banks. This non-scheduled banks, the banks that doesn't follow Reserve Bank India rules and regulations and unable to comply with its requirements. These banks are not bound by Reserve Bank's Second Schedule Act of 1934. So, which automatically states that it doesn't protect the interest of the depositors and it's high risk. So, as per the current financial year we have totally only three non-scheduled banks. That is, one is Capital Local Area Bank Limited, Krishna Bhima Samruddhi Local Area Bank Limited, and Subrata Local Area Bank Limited. Next slide, we see the evolution of banking. Evolution of banking system and Reserve Bank of India. So if you see, Bank of Hindustan was the first bank established initially by the European government, and later on Bank of Bombay, Bank of Bengal, Bank of Madras. These three banks called as Presidency Banks was set up by East India Company. Later on, these three banks were merged to form Imperial Bank of India. Imperial Bank of India, and which was called as National Bank of India by the British government in the year 1921. It was observed that one single bank cannot handle both the cash and the credit control. So hence, the British government has the Royal Commission on Indian Currency and Finance, known as Hilton Young Commission, in the year 1925 to check and submit the reports. Post which Reserve Bank of India was set up on 1st April 1935. And this is how Reserve Bank of India was formed. Let's move to the next slide. See. The main function of the Reserve Bank of India is to issue and regulate currency notes, and it regulates and supervises banks and other financial institutions. Main function of RBI is to control monetary function and control nations' foreign exchange reserves. And it controls the money supply through monetary and fiscal policy, which we will see in detail later. RBI's operations are governed by a total of 21 members. So for one governor, 4 deputy governor, 2 finance ministry representatives, 10 government nominated directors plus 4 directors to represent the local board. These are the total 21 members. So for any country to develop, we require 3 policies. These policies must be monitored to have a stable economy. So these are the policies. One is fiscal policy and monetary policy. And then we have lack of structural deficiencies in the system. There is lack of proper roads and infrastructures. Only if the roads are good and if a country has a good infrastructure, it attracts tourism. In that way, a country can gain revenue. Fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is controlled by the Ministry of Finance, and RBI absolutely has no rule. To understand fiscal policy, we should know what is fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit is nothing but gap between expenditure and revenue of our government. Expenditure should be reduced as much as possible and the revenue should be increased as high as possible to control inflation. Hence, fiscal policy is the policy by which our government reduces its expenditures, like the expenditures in the sense salary to government staff, purchasing military weapons and investments, and the revenue like tax to achieve a stable economy. Next, we'll see what is monetary policy. The basic purpose of this monetary policy is to control inflation, preserving the value of Indian rupees. Monetary policy, we have 3 tools. One is reserve ratio, CRR and SLR. Policy rates, which includes repo rate, reverse repo rate, marginal standing facility and bank rate, and we have open market operations. Let's see one by one. First, we have reserve ratio. So CRR. CRR means cash reserve ratio. So this CRR is decided by RBI. CRR is the ratio of total deposits that banks need to maintain with RBI in the form of cash instead of keeping cash with bank itself. This CRR is a powerful tool to control money flow in the market, and RBI does not provide interest on this CRR. If CRR increases, bank deposits with Reserve Bank will increase, thus decreasing the cash availability in the banks, which makes difficult for the banks to lend, which in turn makes the banks to increase the loan interest rates, which makes it difficult for borrowing. Hence, the flow of money decreases, which in turn decreases the inflation. If CRR decreases, deposits with RBI will also decrease. Hence, the banks will reduce the interest rates on loans as the deposits with banks increases, which makes borrowing so easy. Hence, the money flow will increase, which in turn increases the inflation. So, as per the current financial year, the CRR is 4%. The next we have SLR. So SLR is nothing but stationary liquidity ratio. It is the ratio of total deposits that the banks must keep with Reserve Bank in the form of cash or gold or approved government bonds and securities. And the Reserve Bank of India provides interest on SLR, whereas Reserve Bank of India does not provide any interest on CIR. So as of now, the SLR rate is 18%. Next, we have policy rates. Repo rate. Repo rate is the interest rate at which the RBI lends money to commercial banks in case of shortage of funds with banks against common securities. This is like a short-term loan given for a max to max of 2 days time period. If this repo rate increases, it makes difficult for the banks to borrow money from RBI. Hence, banks will increase interest rates on loans, making borrowing so expensive. Hence, the money flow will automatically decrease, which decreases inflation. Repo rate is a powerful tool to control inflation. Repo rate is currently, it is 4%. And the next we have reverse repo rate. Reverse repo rate is the rate at which RBI borrows money from commercial banks. If the repo rate increases, banks will invest its deposits at high interest rates. Hence the interest rates with RBI. Hence the banks enjoys higher interest rates from the RBI. So the money in the banks will be of shortage. The banks which in turn will not be able to lend money to the common people, which automatically decreases the money supply finally. So in this way it controls the inflation. The current reverse repo rate is 3.35%. Next is we have MSF, marginal standing facility. Marginal standing facility is the rate at which RBI lends funds to scheduled commercial banks overnight against dated government securities as a collateral. Banks use MSF in case of severe cash shortage or acute shortage of liquidity overnight. If MSF increases, interest will increase on loan, which decreases the money supply. In this way, it is used to control the inflation. And now, as per the current financial year, the MSF rate is 4.25%. And next is we have bank rate. Bank rate is the rate at which RBI lends money to the commercial banks without any sale of securities or without any collateral, you can say, but this is for a longer period. At present, the bank rate is 4.25%. And the last part of the monetary policy is open market operations, which basically involves purchase and sale of the government securities in the open market by the RBI. Thank you guys. This is all about today's video. I hope now you will be having a basic idea on this banking operations, classification of banks, banking evolution and RBI policies to control inflation. In the next video, I will share details on the types of accounts in banks and the different types of digital payments used in the banks in detail. For that, please subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get notification on my latest videos. Thanks for watching. Take care.